Good afternoon and welcome to It's No Secret, this week's edition, live from Fly on the Wall Productions studio, located right here at 185 North Main Street in Barrie, live on Aired Out. Lots of things to kind of unpack and talk about today, and I'm not really sure exactly how I should where I should start. I guess there's so many. So let's first start with um, treatment outside of the box, because as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure many are, there is no box when it comes to treatment. At least, I think if you're in the trenches, that is what you believe. And I mean, I've been doing this with my kid for 15 years now, and I can tell you right now that what we're going through right now is nothing like what we were going through a month ago. So, and I bring this up because recently, my son is involved, as are many involved, in the treatment court program here in Washington County. It is a great program, could be a better program if it had all of the tools, but we don't have all of the tools. And we've talked about that many times as well, too, that there are services, but nowhere near the amount of services that we need. So, anyway, each individual in treatment court and just receiving services altogether is assigned a caseworker. And my son, as well as many others, as far as I'm concerned, just had the best caseworker that has ever been involved in um, the program, for sure, by far. She is an absolutely incredible woman. She, however, thought outside of the box. She was willing to meet people where they were at, um, was willing to do what worked for them and discuss that with them and be a part of their solution. And because she was willing to do that and had a understanding that not everything is textbook, nothing is textbook, and especially when you're talking about this and you're talking about different traumas and different medical issues, mental health issues, um, she was most willing to just think outside of the box and do whatever worked. And they pushed her out. She was pushed out and has is last Monday was her goodbye and our goodbye to her. And I was actually there in court when everything took place. And to say I was angry is an understatement. To say many were angry would be an understatement for sure. Um, just when when participant after participant can get up and say, "You saved my life. If it hadn't been for you, I would be dead. If it hadn't been for you, I would be in jail. I'm scared to do this without you. Uh, I consider you family. I consider you a good friend. I that is huge. It is hard for people to trust. It is hard for people to love and understand that these people are here to help. They're not working against you. And when you have somebody like that that's willing to step up and think outside of the box and do whatever it takes to get these people the help they need, those are the people we need. You should be supporting her. You should be standing behind her. You should be learning from her. You shouldn't be, or him even, whoever, you shouldn't be pushing them out. And then it's just one more change for people that are struggling. It's one more thing for them to go through and that they shouldn't be doing. They need consistency. They need somebody that they know that they can go to, that they can talk to, that they can um, count on and rely on to get them what they need when they need it. And the fact that she was pushed out is absolutely disgusting. It's devastating. And and even for me as a parent, I spoke at court as well, because quite frankly, I don't know what we're going to do without her. I For the first time in many years, I felt a security that I haven't ever felt before. She made a connection, not just with the person in active substance use, but she made a connection with the families and the other people involved with the participant. And I don't I don't understand um, the process in a lot of this. I just know that it cannot be in a textbook. It doesn't belong in a textbook, and anybody who thinks that is dead wrong. And we're going to miss her, and it's going to be a huge loss. And it's actually, I believe, going to be a loss that the entire community feels, because now you have quite a few participants that are feeling really on their own. And when several of them can mention that they don't even know who their next caseworker is, they haven't been introduced, they don't know where all, who's going to be doing what, they don't know they haven't had a meeting, they don't have a name, they don't have a phone number. So once again, you have the participants that are left in limbo, just like when CVSAS closed. And that cannot continue to happen. And we need more Kimmys in our lives. We need more people that are willing to step forward and think outside of the box. And that is the only way that we are going to progress. There's no other way. Um, and these people need us. And if we want them to continue to be a part of the process and be a part of the solution for themselves, then we need to be supportive, and we need to start speaking out for these caseworkers and these people that try so hard and work so hard to meet people where it's at. So, with all of that said, I think a huge injustice has been done to the participants that she worked with, for sure, and to many others that could have learned from her and done the same thing. And I wish her the best. I know that she will remain as active as she can in this line of work, because it's just where her heart is. And it's not where her degree is, it's where her heart is. And we need her. So, with that being said, let's jump into the next thing that is absolutely infuriating to me. And this is where I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to have comments. Um, I want to know where we go next with this. So I get a call. I first, let me go back a little bit and just say that I give rides to people. I give rides to rehab. So if you want to go get help and you need a ride to help, I will get you there. I 100%. I don't care where you are, what time it is, what day it is. I will get you there if you're willing to go and get help. And I recently brought someone, I dropped them off. They were very ready, able, willing to get this help. Um, and they were in a really good space. And I got a call from this person just a couple of days after they uh, went into the program, and they said, "Can you come and get me?" So first, what has happened? It's just not okay. There's, someone here. It's not okay. I need to leave, and I'm leaving. I'm going outside right now. Can you come and get me? So I go and get them. This person gets into my car absolutely petrified because here they are in what they believe is a safe environment to get help. They have finally agreed to check themselves into rehab and get themselves help. 2 days later, in the same door, walks the person that was convicted or hasn't been yet convicted, but has been charged with trafficking drugs and sales of drugs. This person is allowed to come from out of state, bring drugs into the state, traffic them to the state, sell fentanyl, xylazine, lace drugs, risk the lives of our kids, probably has killed kids, probably has killed our loved ones. This person is now at the rehab center. This person that's been trafficking and selling drugs, who the participant, the person that wants to get help, owes a ton of money to. Not surprising. Happens all the time. So their life gets threatened while they're there. They're constantly getting threatened. This person, Lord only knows what they say, what they're going to do to them. But this person leaves rehab because they're afraid to be there, because the person that's been selling to them is all of a sudden next there with them. How? How is that even possible? Why is it possible? Why is it allowed? Why are we allowing anybody that comes in this state, bringing drugs from another state into this state, trafficking and selling? Why are we allowing them into rehab facilities in our state? Send them home to get help. We can't help the people that we have here. We don't have the means or the services to help the people we should be helping. And we're going to help the person trafficking drugs? Are you kidding me? And we're going to make somebody that wants to get help leave because they fear for their life, because they owe this person money. And then because of what this person has said to them, they're also worried about being home. They're worried about looking over their shoulder. They're worried that something is going to happen to them. Worried enough so that they say things like, if something happens to me, just so you know, come on. What in the hell? What are we doing? What are we doing? And when are we going to wake up and make this shit change? I don't get it. Something has to be done. Something has to change. It's got to change in Montpelier. We have to start being stricter with people that are running from running drugs in and out of this state like mad crazy, coming from Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York, bringing the shit here, selling it to our kids, killing them, killing our community, ruining our community, spiking up our crime. Do, this None of this is going to change until we change things up here, until we change the laws for the things that uh, to the people that are doing this. Why is it being allowed? And then to allow somebody into a local program knowing that they have trafficked drugs and more than likely have sold drugs to everybody in that place. It makes no sense. And no one that is in a treatment facility should feel as though their life is at danger. Just like no one that is being treated, no one that is in the program should feel as though all of a sudden their case manager is going to get ripped out from under them and they're not going to have anybody to talk to anymore simply because they thought outside of the box as far as treatment goes, that they would bust their ass every day, day in and day out to make sure that each one of their participants got what they needed, when they needed it, however they needed it. People don't get help because of these barriers that, I'm sorry, but we're creating ourselves. We are putting up roadblocks everywhere we look. And somehow we got to change that. So here's where I have to, I mean, it gets political. It's just the way it is. It's plain and simple. It gets political. It's who we're talking to, who we're voting for, who we are, who actually recognizes the problem, and who's not going to open the floodgates for further problems. We know that there are people who really, truly support injection sites, safe injection sites. They believe that that's the answer. There are people out there who believe that making all drugs legal is the answer. There's also people out there that believe that we should make prostitution legal, which is insane. All of it, as far as I'm concerned. Do I believe that Narcan, should we be using that? Absolutely. Should we try to save a life? Yes. You would do that just as much as you would give somebody having a heart attack chest compressions, or that you would give somebody an EpiPen if they were having an allergic reaction. You should, those sorts of things, those are life-saving measures. Those are things to help people get to where they need to be. But if the people that you're trying to help are scared to death to get to where they need to be, that's a problem. There's some great programs right here at Central Vermont Medical Center. There are people there around the clock that can help people. I know recovery coaches that stay right in the emergency room all the time. If they're not there, they're on call. If somebody comes in, they're willing. But the majority of people, when the ambulance comes, they refuse medical help. And why? Because they're afraid they're going to be arrested. Nobody should fear getting help. And they don't. They don't get arrested, but that's their fear. They do send them to the emergency room if they're willing. They do send them, but the fact remains is that most people are scared to death. They don't believe that, and that's a breakdown between government and the people seeking help. That's something we have to fix. It's never been a secret that I am a big proponent of long-term treatment. I believe that 1 year sounds like a great idea. And I have said many times before, in a perfect world, my dream would be to take the old Windsor prison, take down the fence. It's not a prison. it's just a 125 bed treatment center, uh, where you get all the services that you need for one solid year, including any education you might need, a GED, a whatever you need. You learn a trade, you learn a skill. When I was in prison, uh, the the women there worked. They worked. They did the cleaning. They did the cooking. They did they chopped wood for the wood fired furnace. They worked in the sign shop. They worked in the license plate shop. Even though they don't do any of that anymore, it's all digitally done. But so teach them how to do it. Um, they also build little tool sheds and dog houses and different things like that. And there was a big, huge garden, and um, give them purpose. Teach them how to um, fill out a job application, a rental application, how to do an interview, um, those sorts of things. Give them a skill before you just say, okay, we're going to detox you for 10 days, 15 days, and then we are going to send you right back to the same exact situation you were in with the same exact services that are next to nothing that you had when you came here. That does not work. It's a glorified detox is what it is. They talk to you about options. They talk to you about what you may or may not be able to do. But there's not a lot here. There's just not. They're trying. They are getting Turning Point now that they're back online. Are trying harder and harder to provide more meetings and services and different groups and meeting people where they're at with Zoom. And I know, some people think that Zoom is a horrible thing, but it's really not, because some people that are in the program, they have a lot to do. They got to maintain a job. They have to get a UA. They have to meet with their PO. There's lots of things that they need to do. And so providing the Zoom, so it's not one more place to be, or maybe they don't have transportation, it at least gets them in a meeting. And the great thing about Zoom is, if you're not comfortable participating in a meeting right here, because you don't want to be among your peers or your neighbors, participate in a meeting in Miami every night if you want to, but just participate. Those sorts of things are out of the box treatments, but they're not long term. They're the little things that can be done when you are back in the community, but that's, mind you, after you've only been in detox. You've been to a rehab, you've been there 15 days, 21 max, and then you're back where you were, in your, maybe homeless, maybe in your hotel room, maybe couch surfing, maybe in the same apartment, or maybe you have your own home, but you're still in the same situation you were when you went. What is available to you is very minimal. So, a long term treatment facility of at least a year gives time to truly get on your way, to truly develop a plan that works for you, because that plan isn't always the same for everybody either. It's not just God in 12 steps. Some people they can't, that isn't how they operate. They can't do it that way. Some people, it needs to be writing. They write, they journal, they maybe they make music, maybe whatever it is they need to do. And to have a facility where there was different groups and different supports, and you learned from each other, would be, and you were given a sense of purpose. I mean, most people that are using and in active addiction, even if you are somebody that has a really good job, and so basically you work all week to play. You more than likely spend every dime you have as soon as you get it, and then what do? Then you spend the rest of the week hustling. You got to hustle to pay your bills. You got to hustle to get more drugs. You might sell stuff. You might sell your own self. You might commit a crime to pay for your drugs. Um, that's when it starts injuring our community as a whole. And that's where we need to really think about what we're doing and how we're doing it. So I know for sure, with all certainty, that here in the city we have one candidate, Michael Booten, who actually is a huge proponent for long term um, treatment. He believes up to a year, or for 1 year, and I agree with him, and totally 100% stand behind him there. And for him, it's about the community safety as a whole. It's about everybody. It's about the community members that are getting stolen from, but it's also the addict who just really needs that start in life that maybe they've never gotten, because this has been something that is life learned, because they were born into families and raised by families who have suffered for years also. Um, but for community safety, it makes sense. Would it be costly? Yes. But would it be any more costly than what we're doing now? If all services were in one spot, and it certainly wouldn't cost any more than prison. We would get way more out of it than prison. And it having a purpose, learning those skills is such a big deal. I know it was for me. Um, I wasn't um, I wasn't an addict. Um, but when I really think about it, I drank a lot. When I really think about how I dealt with all of my problems, um, when they were all happening back when, and how I had dealt with, domestic abuse and violence and those sorts of things, I drank a lot. I numbed all of that. I really didn't give a shit what happened to me if, I pounded a six pack when I got home from work. Um, but I remember that my first night in jail, and I'm not asking for jail. I'm saying that it makes a difference. But my first night there, and I know this because they were very honest with me about this months later, but the officers had a bet how long I would last before I tried to off myself. Isn't that just, I mean, it's disgusting, but it's true. And that isn't at all what happened. I missed my kids. It being taken from, me walking away from them and seeing their little faces in the window. I'll never in my life forget it. And I'm probably a huge part of my son's problem. But I slept. I fell asleep, and I literally slept for almost 72 hours. I felt safe for the first time in probably my entire life. I felt safe. How disgusting is that? But once I was there and settled in and had a job and had people around me that weren't judging me, weren't, um, they had been through the same things that I had been through in life. None of us, we were all alike. There was no reason to hide. There was no, as a matter of fact, I did my own newspaper column for a while called The Glass House, because truthfully, yes, I would have thrown stones at those people prior to being in. And I don't even like to refer to it as those people, but I would have thrown stones at someone in prison prior to. But meeting those people opened up this whole new light for me that I wasn't alone. And to be able to do that for somebody in recovery, to have them truly know, I mean, they go to meetings, they're in treatment court, they know they're not alone, but to really feel supported and really understand and know each other's stories and to be able to hold each other up and hold each other accountable instead of, you meet in a courtroom every other Monday, which accountability, I think that's great, but you meet there every other Monday and maybe see each other at a meeting here or there, but you don't really know that those people are your supports. Those are the people that you can count on that are just like you, that you can call or if you need to talk, they're there. I had that in prison. I learned a skill. I learned to have more respect for myself. I learned that I didn't have to be pushed around. I learned that I could earn my own money and that it would truly be mine, that I wasn't going to have to hand it over and get an allowance. And um, I learned so many different things that I had never learned before because was in a relationship as soon as I left high school and had a baby immediately and then another baby. And just to know it makes a difference when you know that you are supported by all kinds of people just like you. And that is what long term services would do. It's what we need. And I know the mandatory thing makes a lot of people cringe, but I can tell you right now that I know for sure, with all certainty, that if you said to somebody, if you said to my son, if you said to this person that I went to pick up from rehab that was scared to death, if you said to them, we are going to put you in a rehab facility, we're going to keep you there for 1 year. And when you're there, you're going to work on yourself, you're going to get better, you're going to, um, learn a skill, you're maybe going to be able to get your GED. We're going to make sure that for 1 solid year, you are working on you. And then when you leave that facility, there's going to be some sort of transitional housing or sober living housing that you can spend some months in to try to get your feet wet and reintegrate back into your community, maybe in a whole different community, whatever it takes for you. If we were doing that, it would make all the difference in the world. And I can guarantee that the majority of people struggling would stand in line to get into such a thing because they don't want to go on the 14-day roller coaster. They don't want to they look at it as it's a joke to them, really. Sure, send me to rehab. I'm going to go 14 days. I'm going to come out. I'm going to come back to, let's just say, Berry City. I'm going to come back to Berry City with maybe IOP that I've already done 10, 12 times because that's a program that's available. Maybe I'm going to go to Dr. Bob's on because it's there every night from 8 to 9. I can go there if my curfew allows me to do so. Maybe I can catch a meeting in between trying to work, take care of kids, get a job, meet with my probation officer, this, that, and the other thing. It would be a relief to these people. People, they don't want to go to, it's not that they don't want to go to rehab. They're saying, why? What is the point? I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there for 14 days. I'm going to come back out. I'm going to struggle. I'm going to struggle and get into trouble. I'm going to possibly overdose and die. They're going to do all of that only to come back and start the cycle again, no matter how hard they try. I have seen many, including my own kid, try, and try again. And we always end up in the same place. But that is because we're ending up in that same place because there's no true safety net. And we have true, when we do get a true safety net, when we do get somebody like Kimmy that is willing to provide that and to go the extra mile and to think out of the box and to start looking at services in Maine and New Hampshire and Massachusetts and down south, wherever and whatever she's got to do, we get rid of them. What sense does it make? We have to somehow get to a point where we are willing, that we're willing to work with this. That's the show is called It's No Secret because it's not a secret. And I have said many, many, many times, we know it's here. It's not a secret. So it's up to us to decide how we are going to deal with it. How are we as a community, as a state, going to deal with it being here? Are we going to keep tolerating people from other states trafficking drugs into this state? Are we going to keep tolerating people who live here but travel to other states and bring back fentanyl, xylazine, and sell it on the streets here? We've had bust after bust after bust. What are we? Those are the people that need long-term prison sentences, not the guy that's struggling. Not the girl that's struggling. The people that are trafficking this shit into our state and into our city, they are the ones that are the problem. And until we are willing to stand up and say we want more justice for those that are killed by these dealers, until we are willing to say that the Ben Waiters of the world who openly admit that they've gone to Pennsylvania to buy fentanyl and then brought it back and told somebody how much to use, is charged as a murderer. You don't, you know, sales with death resulting, 2-year maximum sentence. What the hell is 2 years? And if you're good, you get good time. Nope. Good violent offenders in Vermont don't get good time. And that's a violent crime. Never mind the fact that they should get far more than 2 years, but they definitely shouldn't be getting good time. Good time for what? For killing somebody? No. And we certainly should not be letting dealers into the rehab facilities knowing that more than likely there are people, like 99%, probability of that there are people that owe that dealer money. To have somebody call and say, I need to leave here, I need to get out of here, my life is being threatened, that is disgusting. They never should have been put in that situation. And then try to get that person back into a rehab. Try to get, and so now they're scared to death they're going to go to jail because they were supposed to go to rehab or else. Because that's part of the treatment court program. You have 2 options. You can finish the program, you can do what you're supposed to do for programming, or you go to jail, you serve your underlying sentence. So this person is scared to death to go to jail because a lot of the dealers are in jail. Now this person is scared to death to be in rehab because they've got a dealer in there threatening their lives and wanting money. So where do they go? What do they do? And what does that do to their mental health? And did I sleep after I picked this person up? No, I'm scared to death. I'm scared to death they're going to take their own life because that sounds better than what they're going through right now. That sounds better than whatever this dealer might do to them, the death that they might face because of. It should never happen. And the fact that it did, it blows my mind and it's disgusting. And I don't know what the hell we're thinking. I really don't. And I don't know what the hell we're thinking when we think that when you have a system that's working, when you have and this goes back to the caseworker. When you have a system that's working, who gives a shit how it's working? If it's working, leave it alone. If you have people that are trying and they're doing their best and they're willing to call their caseworker at 11 o'clock at night because they think they're going to fall off the wagon, why are we getting rid of her? Why we're getting rid of her because that's not the rules. That's not what the textbook says we're supposed to do. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit about a textbook? I'm not textbook with my diabetes. I've been suffered with diabetes most of my life. And I I mean, the doctors tried for many years to figure it out. They even put me in the hospital for 2 weeks so they could monitor because they were sure that I was not eating properly or taking my insulin. So they fed me and gave me insulin for 2 solid weeks, 14 days, literal 14 days. And guess what? They didn't maintain me any better than I was maintaining me. I'm not textbook. We had to totally go off the rails to treat me. And it took 3 years probably to get it figured out, and we finally have. And great, I'm happy. And that may be the same case with these people. Nobody is going to um, rehabilitate the same way. Not exactly. It may be similar, but it's not going to be exact. And we have to learn to meet people where we're at. And we have to learn that a long term treatment program is absolutely needed in this state. The treatment court program is a program that is in many states. It's more successful in other states, and I believe because their services are um, much more broad than what we have here by far. Maybe even in other counties, it may be different. Maybe it's different in Chittenden County. I'm not sure. And I'm not saying it doesn't work here. I love the team. I love the efforts. I love the idea. I love everything about it. But what I would like to see it, the treatment court be the process after a 1 year stay at a rehab center. I would like to see us investing our money into treatment and not safe injection sites. I'm sorry, I'm just not there. I I'm all for Narcan. I'm all for giving somebody CPR, giving them a ride to rehab, doing whatever I can to help. I'm just not okay with saying I condone you sticking a needle in your arm. I'm not. I'm not. Um, and I don't think that anybody will ever get me to that point. I know that it's part of the harm reduction, and I'm okay with some of those methods, but definitely not all. If you want to reduce harm and you want to reduce harm to everyone, including your community, then you got to get help and you got to be willing to pay for that help and not pay for dumbass things. And legalizing prostitution and opening up safe injection sites is dumbass in my mind. And that's my opinion, share it or not. But that's where I'm at with things. And I would love to know people's thoughts on long term. I would like to know, I mean, as a community member, are you willing to put forth the money that it may cost to do this if you know that it's going to save your community in the long run? If you know that you can have your camper parked on your front lawn and at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's not going to get dragged off, or your dirt bike parked beside your house, your son's dirt bike parked beside your house and come up missing, or your kid's bicycle, or stores broken into. What are you willing to give to get a better community? And what are you willing to give to save save a life, possibly save the life of your own child your brother, your sister, your mother, your cousin, even your neighbor. Um, because no matter who you are, you know somebody. Even if you don't think you do, I promise you, you do. There are people that you wouldn't even guess that are involved and that are in active addiction. So, what are we willing to do, and how are we going to step up? We have to step up by continually going to the legislature. We have to step up by who we vote for, how we vote, what we vote for. We have to start paying attention to um, when they're making all of these decisions, when they're, I think that for many reasons, a lot of us have stepped back and we've stopped voting and we've kind of thrown our arms up in the air and said, I give up. But now's not the time to give up. Now's the time to stand up and speak louder than you've ever spoke before, because we are, man, we're getting run over for sure. And this isn't, JD would be laughing his ass off at me because I'm going to say this, but this isn't the time to sit around a fire pit and sing kumbaya while we hold each other's hands. It just, it's not necessary. Right now, um, we need to step up and we need to get it together and we need to stand together and we need to say, not here, not now. We're not going to allow it anymore. And we are willing to help. It's the only way for all of us to get out. And it's the only way for all of us to make sure that the cycle is broken and that we are all safe, because we all matter. And it's important that we make sure that people that are trafficking drugs into the state are incarcerated, that they are punished and punished severely. Uh, People who sell drugs to others and kill them, that they are charged with murder, not a crime with sales with death resulting. Death resulting isn't shit. It's a 2-year max sentence that, who cares? For a lot, that's a walk in the park. They could do it tomorrow. And with good time and all of the hand holding, it really doesn't matter to them. So we definitely need to get stricter. We need to be more open minded about treatment, and we need to push for treatment, mandatory treatment, and we need to work together to get there. And we need to make sure that no one is left behind. I mean, we say that all the time, and that nobody can walk into a treatment facility saying, I'm ready for help, and then get their life threatened. Should never happen. So, with that, that's all I've got today. That's my rant and rave for the day. And I hope to see you all next week. I believe we're going to be talking about some new services available here in the city, in Washington County. Some services that we've been lacking for a little while that will definitely pick up the gap. I'm not turning my nose up at anything that's offered. I'm super grateful for it. I'm very grateful for Turning Point and everything they offer. I'm grateful for the recovery coaches that are up at CVMC and the groups that are available. But I'm very much looking forward to more. And so hopefully that'll all happen next week. We'll have some guests in here and we'll talk about that. And then hopefully the week after that, we will have somebody that is in recovery, has been in recovery for a long time, and will be sharing their story of hope, how they got out of the trenches, where they're at now, and yeah. So until then, take care. Um, Educate yourself a little bit, ask questions, keep an open mind, and just be well. See you next time. Love ya.